Hi, welcome back to Wallflowers. There's something happening right now in Parliament this week that I think every single one of us needs to know about, and most people have absolutely no idea it's even in motion. You might remember we talked about digital ID, about how they said it had been scrapped, and I said, watch the back door. Well, the back door is wide open, and now they've come for something new. Your VPN. Let me take you back to August 2025, because that's where the story really starts. The Online Safety Act came into force, and on the face of it, it sounded perfectly reasonable. Protect children online, require websites to verify the ages of their users. Very few people argued with that, but here's what actually happened. Within weeks, ordinary websites were asking UK users to upload a passport, a driving licence, or scan the face, just to access content that the day before had been completely free to view. No age check, no ID, just click and read. And here's the part that most people missed entirely. Those age verification companies keep a copy of your ID. I'll say that again. Those age verification companies keep a copy of your ID. You hand your passport or your driving licence to a private company, a company you've never heard of, that you've never chosen to deal with, and they store it. One researcher described it as creating the largest voluntary biometric database in British history, voluntarily, because we don't realise we've got a choice. VPN usage in the UK spiked by 1,400%, almost overnight. And I want to be clear, people weren't doing anything wrong. They simply didn't want to hand their identity documents to a stranger on the internet. And that's a reasonable position to take. And that is when things got really interesting. Because Ofcom, our communications regulator, noticed that spike. And rather than asking why so many millions of people suddenly felt the need for privacy, they had a different response entirely. They warned us against using VPNs to bypass age checks. And now it goes much further. There's currently an amendment being debated in Parliament right now, Amendment 92 of the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill, that would legally compel every VPN provider in the UK to verify the age of every single user before they connect. Not just children, everyone. And it would allow VPN services to be banned outright for under 18s. Think about what that means in practice. The tool millions of people use for privacy, for security when they're on public Wi-Fi, for keeping their data away from advertisers, would require you to prove who you are before you even switch it on. I want to be very clear about something. I'm not here to be dramatic. I'm not here to frighten anyone. I'm simply reading to you what is a parliamentary bill right now in 2026 in this country. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because it isn't just us. This week, within the last week, the European Parliament Research Service published a report. The conclusion was that VPNs are, and I'm quoting directly here, a loophole that needs closing. The EU is now looking at whether VPN users across Europe should also be required to verify their age before they can connect. The story got nearly 10,000 upvotes on Reddit within 48 hours. The top comment, with over 10,000 likes, simply said, "Privacy is now a loophole." And one comment that I thought was worth reading out said this: "Nobody asked for it. Everyone is getting it. Why are all governments acting the same?" That's the question, isn't it? Now, here's what connects it all back to digital ID, because you'll remember the digital ID bill was officially scrapped after huge public pushback. But at the very same time, gov.uk One Login, a government digital identity system, was quietly rolled out. It already has millions of registered users, digital driving licenses, digital veteran cards, facial recognition cameras quietly expanding across London town centres. The infrastructure for a national digital identity system is being built piece by piece, not through one big announcement that people can organise against, but through dozens of small, seemingly reasonable steps. Excuse me. Each one sold to us as a safety measure. Each one on its own sounds almost sensible. Together, they tell a completely different story. If you're finding this useful, and I know it's a lot to take in, please do consider hitting subscribe. I try to bring you this kind of information in a calm and a practical way, without the drama. And if you'd like to support the channel, there's a link to my Buy Me a Coffee and my Amazon storefront with things I actually use every day. Both are in the description. Thank you. So this is 5 things you can do. So let me talk about what we can actually do. That is always my aim here, not just to tell you about a problem, but to leave you with something practical to hold on to. Number 1, get comfortable with cash again. I know we talk about this a lot, but every time you pay by card, you create a data point. Cash leaves no trace. In a world where your digital footprint is increasingly being used to build a profile of you, cash is quiet, cash is private, cash is independence. Number 2, understand what a VPN is and consider using one while you still can. A VPN, a virtual private network, encrypts your internet connection. It hides your browsing from your internet provider, from advertisers, from anyone who might be watching. Good ones cost around £3 to £5 a month, and I'll leave some information in the description. The reason I mention it now is simple. If this bill passes, using one without proving your identity may become much more complicated. So it's better to understand how they work before that even happens. Number 3, keep physical documents of importance. As more and more services go digital and as systems go down or get hacked, and they do, physical records matter. Your bank statements, letters, bills. Keep a folder. This isn't paranoia. This is exactly what your grandmother did, and she was right. Number 4, talk about this with the people you trust, gently, not in a frightening way, because the people most likely to be affected by a fully digital system are older people who aren't online, people without smartphones, people in rural areas with poor connectivity. They're not in these conversations, but we can be the ones who bring it to them. And number 5, stay observational, stay calm. I want to be honest with you, we don't know exactly where all of this is heading, but what I do know is that staying informed, staying practical, and staying connected to a community of like-minded people, well, that's the best thing any of us can do. Now, I'd really love to know what you think. Had you already heard about the VPN amendment? Are you already using a VPN? And how do you feel about all of this? Is it something you're actively thinking about? Or does it, excuse me, or does it feel too big and too complicated to get your head around? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely read every single one. And I love these conversations. They're so valuable. Because here's what I believe. The more of us who are quietly informed, quietly prepared, and quietly connected to each other, the better off we all are. That's what slow living means to me. Not just saving money on the weekly shop, but building a life that isn't entirely dependent on systems you don't control. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take care. Remember you're loved, and the world is a better place with you in it. Bye, love.